Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Rama.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Rama.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Rama.
Sant Goswami Tushiraj is saying, if the one individual who has poor qualities go to a group of people who have good qualities, the chances are the individual with the poor quality will change. Similarly, if one individual have good qualities and goes into the group of bad qualities, the chances are they will be changed by those. The majority will rule. So he says, be careful. You might be a good person, but you're hanging out with the wrong people. Chances are, you know what's the law? I've had many young people come to me and say, Panditji, you know, they were together with a group of people who got into trouble with the law. And you know, it's interesting, I've never had a young person come to me and say, Panditji, I was one of the guilty ones. They said, no, it wasn't me, Panditji, it was the others, I was just there. Like they were but I was just looking on. I was just sitting in the car. But you know what the police says? You were there. You're guilty. Charge. And by the way, we meet these young people here, I want you to know. They come here for counseling. They come here for when they have to serve the hours, community service, they come here. And I've yet to meet one of them who's admitted that he was really partied again. No, Panditji, I didn't really mean. I said, but you were there. Why didn't you stay home? But Prem Sositavadi Ramachandra. And the mother and father would say, Panditji, my son is such a good boy. Oh, he's such a nice boy. He drinks milk every day. Yeah. I said, that's very good, he's drinking milk every day. It's not what he was drinking that got into trouble, it's what he took that got into trouble. And where he was that got into trouble, and the people who he was with that got into trouble. Then on the other hand, when you keep the right company, sometimes it could be a life-saving. Now I don't know any of you come from a country where there was political violence, racial violence. Any of you have come from this country? Where you've been actually part of that, you're a victim or victimized through racial violence. Anybody here? Yep. I was. Okay. In 1962, in the country where I'm from, there was major racial violence. The company you keep also. Of course, in the village that I grew up in, there was one Mandir, only one Mandir. My father was the Purohit for the Mandir, and I, of course, was always there in the Mandir. And in the village, the main street, it's James Street, it's called. The main road, everyone who lived on that street knew me very well. They knew me as, who? Not by my name, they knew me as Pandit's son. Pandit's son. And all the boys who were in the bad gangs, or the street corners, they knew me also. They would laugh at me and say, we are Pandit's son, he's riding a very dhoti, look at him. But they always say, hey, Pandit's son, how are you doing? Well, during this time of this racial violence, when one group of people were terrorizing another group of people, I happened to be in the group that was being terrorized. I was caught into one of these, what you call, corners of darkness. And then one of the people who was doing all of the hooliganizing said, hey, don't touch him, he's the Pandit's son. So my association with Pandits saved my life. Because on that day, they were just dealing with everybody in blows. And along the way, who fell, fell. So I realized that my father was right. Wear your dhoti and kota, it has value. Because if I didn't wear dhoti and kota, they would never know me as a Pandit's son. So that's why I like to wear my dhoti and kota all the time, even if I travel anywhere, because it has value. So remember the association we have and the way we carry ourselves also makes a difference. Some of us want to dress like we are, I don't know, that we don't belong anywhere and nobody owns us, you know. We like to wear pants where there's a hole in it, and pants whereby it seems like it's short 1 inch at the back, or 2 inches, maybe some 3 inches. And we want to dress in such a way, and then we want people to not treat us like if we are different. But the way we dress, people put us in a certain category. Do you notice that? They'll put you in that certain category. The young lady who's dressed like that will get more whistles than the young lady who's dressed with, nice covered sari or something like that. Right? But the one with half clothes on, whistle, lots of whistle. So, how we carry ourselves tells us about I'm not picking on young ladies, please don't get me wrong. The boys are the one who wears that short pants with missing 2 inches, 3 inches. And then the idea is that you carry yourself in such a way that you fall into a category. People put you in a category. Oh, well, because you must be this. And because you must be this. So you get put into a category even if you don't belong there. So be careful about the company that you keep. Professor Siddhavati Ramachandra Bhagavan ki. Now someone will say, Panditji, those people who are working in those mental institutions, all day they're with mental people. Does that mean people think that they're mental also? People think that, yes. People think that if you are working in a prison and you're coming out of the prison door, everybody's walking by saying, look, he's coming out of the prison, he must be one of the prisoners. Yes. But I'll tell you, they'll never mistake me for a prisoner. Because when I go there, I'm dressed in my dhoti and kurta, they say, he can't be a prisoner dressed like that. And I've gone to many jails. All of the big federal prisons, I've gone to them. But when I walk in there, if I wear just a pants and a shirt and I walk in there, a t-shirt, he must be one of the guys who they just let out. But if I'm dressed with dhoti and kurta and I go to that prison, he's definitely not a prisoner. Now, I hope some of you are getting the drift about dress that I'm talking about. You know, our Christian brothers, when they go to their place of worship, they wear their Sunday best. So much the Sunday best, the best suit of clothes they have. We Hindus have lost the joy of wearing appropriate attire for Mandir. It's a casual thing. But then, it's an interesting, the Hindu was converted to Christianity. If you see how they dress up to go to their place of worship, they wear suit and tie to go. But when they're Hindus, they wear short pants and go to Mandir. No pants. So our state of mind determines how we attire ourselves. And our association determines how we attire ourselves. So we must realize that everything we do puts us in a category. So we have to be careful now because we are on stage. Remember, all of us are on stage. Parents, especially, remember you're always on stage. You don't know it, but your children are watching you perform. And they'll go to school and say, my mommy was doing this, the other day, and my daddy was doing this. Already. Everything we do, they watch. They record and they say, whether it's good or bad. On the other hand, we are on the stage of life. Whatever we do, it's always been watched by somebody else. The people you least think are watching you, they're watching you. Well, you see, in my case, I know people are always watching me because I'm good looking. That's the only reason they're looking at me. They're not looking for my faults. He's a good looking fellow, let's watch at him. I only wish that. Don't believe that anybody's watching at you because you're good looking. They're looking for your not so good looks. 99% of the people looking at you, they're looking, let me see, what's not good looking about this person, let me find it. So, the essence of this little message is that let us not live for who's looking at us or not looking at us. Let us live for who we are supposed to be. Let us live for what we are supposed to be. Let us live to be that human being, that kind of person who represents the qualities of good. We use this word good so much. Oh, you're a good boy, you're a good girl, you're a good child, you're a good husband, you're a good father, you're a good... What do we mean when we say that? Every time you give somebody a gift, oh, you're a good person. If I don't give you a gift, you must not be a good person then. So we must be cautious of how we label our good. Professor Siddhavati Ramachandra Bhagavan ki jai. He says, says the wicked are transformed by association with the good. He said if by chance a good person should fall into evil company, it says even then that good person still has the ability to turn those who are not good, because the power of good is much more powerful than the power of evil. The power of good is much more powerful than the power of evil. Now someone said, Panditji, how is that so? Now do you think we have more evil in the world, or do we have more good in the world? Which one? Anybody? What do you think? ये प्रश्न है. Is there more evil in the world, or is there more good in the world? What do you think? Jaideep, what do you think? What was that again? Is more good? Okay. Panji, what do you think? Yes, you. What do you think? Is there more good or evil in the world? Not good? No good? So that means there is more evil? Okay. So we have one person saying there is more good. Jaideep, listen. She says more evil. Anybody else? A third person. More evil. Count. Where are you? More evil. Put your hands up. Okay. Anybody else? Come on. 50-50? Okay. Yes? More good. Over there. More good. Okay. Anybody else? Over there, yes. More good. Well, I'm glad we have more good people, and we said that because then all of you would have been bad people. Because you are part of the world, and the majority of you are saying there's more bad people, that means all of us are evil. So let us be conscious of the fact that there's more good in the world than evil. And if we convince ourselves of that, then we want to be part of the good. But if we convince ourselves that there's more evil in the world, guess what we want to be? We want to be on the side of the plenty. Isn't that true? If you're convinced that there's more evil in the world, what are you told? Well, let's be evil then, because you can't become, join them, as they say. Right? If you can't win them, then join them, become evil too. But if we are convinced that there's more good in the world, then we want to be good. Prem Sitapati Ramachandra Bhagavan ki jai. But how do we get to this stage of good? How do we get to the stage of good? Binu satsangami vekhan hoi Ram kripa bin sulabam soi. Sri Ram Jai Ram Jai Ram Sri Ram Jai Ram Satsangati Muda Mangala Mula Sri Ram Jai Ram Koi Palsi Bhisab Avgan Mula Sri Ram Jai Ram Jai Ram Sri Ram Jai Ram Jai Ram Sri Ram Jai Ram Jai Ram. सत्संग के बिना विवेक नहीं होता है, और वह बिना राम जी के कृपा के प्राप्त नहीं होता. सत्संगति आनंद और कल्याण की जड़ा है. सत्संग की सिद्धि ही फल है, और सब साधन तो फूल है. बिना सत्संग विवेक नहीं होती है. It says without the right company the knowledge cannot come. And satsang is used. Sat meaning क्या मतलब? Truth. What truth? The truth about God and ourselves. Sang, those who know and understand this truth. And he says, remember, like this yajna has been planned, and we mailed out close to $1,800 was spent in mailing costs, in postage stamp. That means at least 2,000 to 3,000 people got invitation for the church now. And tonight, we are here. Now, Sant Goswami Tulsi says, he says, Rama Bina, Rama Kripa Bino Satsanga Soi. He says, only through the grace of God do we actually get to go to satsang. I want you to think carefully, all of us who are here. I want you to think carefully about the events that led up to you being here today. Now let me give you a scenario, and if it occurs to you, don't put your hands up, please. This morning, the head of the family, either the mother or the father, very likely the mother, got up and says, children, we are going to Ram Mandir tonight. And then there's one child in the corner saying, going to Ram Mandir? I don't know, Ma, what do I have to go there? Right? And then the mother says, we are going because we have to go, right? And then the other child says, but Mom, I have homework to do. And the mother says, yes, I know you have that, but we're going anyway. And then the father says, why don't you leave the children alone? You go. I hope this doesn't happen in your house. But nevertheless, you are here. Whatever those circumstances are, ye Ram ka kripa. That is the compassion of God that brings us. And then there are those who plan to be here all day. And then just at the last minute, we're not going to go. Something happened. Ye Ram Kripa nahi hai. Remember, we make choices and then God make choices for us. So this satsang, this company that we're talking about also is guided by the hands of God. Someone said, Panditji, if God is guiding everything, why should I worry? Why don't I let him do everything? We still have to eat ourselves. He wouldn't feed us. He'll give us oxygen, but he said, you must put food in your mouth. If you don't, you will die. I will provide the food, I will tell you where the banana plant is and how you can plant it, but you must eat. Similarly, you must have a desire to want to go. I will help you to get there. But if you don't have a desire to go, I can't help you to get there. Prem se Sitapati Ramachandra Bhagavan ki jai. In this final doha, I think Sant Goswami Tulsi presents one of the most beautiful analogy of the person who has come to realize the value of God in their lives. And he tells us, Bando Santa Samana Chit Hit Anahit Nahi Ko O Rama Hit Anahit Nahi Ko Anjali Gata Subha Simanaji Samasu Ganda Karabo O Rama Samasu Ganda Karabo Siyavar Ramachandra Padme Sharan Shankar Hariya Jai Siya Ram Shankar Hariya Jai Siya Ram. How many of us know what is the marigold flower? If you know what it is, put your hands up, please. You know the yellow flower, the nice, grows plentiful in Canada. We have some outside the Mandir right now. Have you ever taken one of those flowers and taken your hand like this and break it up with the petals? Have you ever done that? You haven't? Who's done that? Put your hands up, please. What happens when you do that? What? Smells your hands. But you just kill that flower. You just crush the life out of it. And what did it leave you with? A sweet smell of its essence. You have crushed the life out of it and it gave you its sweetness. What kind of flower is that? Here the analogy has been made that the person who has come to the realization of God, who has been transformed to that degree, is like that flower. He says you may crush them and all they will give you is their goodness and their goodness and their goodness. Prem se Sitapati Ramachandra Bhagavan ki. Now the question is, does such a person live in this world? Well, we all just agreed there's more good than bad, right? We all agreed that there's more good than evil. And the question is, Sant Goswami Tulsidas says that the person of God, the more you kind of suffer them, the more they will do their good to you. Who represented this kind of quality in the modern day world that we live in? In our history, we are told about one person. Hey aakwo jo shaam ka darshan kiya kare, hai sheesh jo prabhu charan mein vandan kiya kare. बेकार वो मुख है जो रहे गलत बातों में, मुख वो है जो हरि नाम का सुमिरन किया करे. हीरे मोती से नहीं शोभा है हाथ जो भगवान का पूजन किया करे. मर कर भी अमर नाम है उस जीव का जग में, प्रभु प्रेम में बलिदान जो जीवन किया ऐसी लागी लगन मेरा हो गए मगन, ऐसी लागी लगन मेरा हो गए मगन. वो तो गली गली हरी गुन गाने लगी, महलों में चले बनती जो बन चली, मेरी रानी दीवानी कहाने लगी. ऐसी लागी लगन मेरा हो गए मगन. कोई रोके नहीं कोई टोके नहीं, मेरा गोविंद गोपाल गाने लगी. कोई रोके नहीं कोई टोके नहीं, मेरा गोविंद गोपाल गाने लगी. बटे संतों के संग रंग मोहन की रंग, मेरा प्रेमी प्रीतम को मनाने लगी. वो तो गली गली हरी गुन गाने लगी. ऐसी लागी लगन मेरा हो गए मगन, वो तो गली गली हरी गुन गाने लगी. महलों में पली बनके जो बन चली, मेरा रानी दीवानी कहाने लगी. ऐसी लागी लगन मेरा हो गए मगन. राना ने विष दिया मानो अमृत पिया, मेरा सागर में सरिता समाने लगी. गुटला को चले मुझे गोविंद कहे, मेरा गोविंद गोपाल गाने लगी. वो तो गली गली हरी गुन गाने लगी. ऐसी लागी लगन मेरा हो गए मगन, वो तो गली गली हरी गुन गाने लगी. महलों में चली बनके जो बन चली, मेरा रानी दीवानी कहाने लगी. ऐसी लागी लगन मेरा हो गए मगन, ऐसी लागी लगन मेरा हो गए मगन. मेरा भाई, कोई रोके नहीं कोई टोके ही नहीं, मेरा गोविंद गोपाल गाने लगे. बैठे संतों के संग रंग मोहन की रंग. She spent all of her time with the saints and sages. She did not allow anyone to disturb her life, or not did she disturb anyone's life. We are told that there are those who did not like her, and they know how she loved Bhagavan Krishna and she liked to drink Charanamrit. And they gave poison to her in this Chandramrit. And what did she do? She chanted on the Lord, consumed it, and even that did not affect her. Those who are committed, those who have come to the realization of God in their lives, and someone said, Panditji, you expect all of us to come nearby and go chant Hare Krishna, we have families to look after. Of course you cannot leave your families. You've chosen to be in the Grihastha ashram. Mirabai had chosen not to be in the Grihastha ashram. She chose to be a sannyasi. She chose to not to become married, and she says, and my husband is Bhagavan Krishna. And she says, I am married to the Lord, but we are married to our families. But in so doing, we cannot escape or detach ourselves from God. But we have that responsibility, and we have the ability to be just as devout as Meera was. Existing in this Grihastha ashram, we have that ability because we are karma yogis. We follow the pathway of good karma. And our good karma can only be in our interaction with other human beings and our relationship with other human beings. Thus, the company that we keep is a key factor in our karma. If we keep good company, we will develop good karma. If we keep not so good company, we will have not so good karma. If you have never crushed a marigold flower in your hand, go get some and try it. The fragrance is overwhelming. It will stay with you for hours and even days, even when you wash your hands. And it's such a sweet, innocent, but very, very touching fragrance. Once you smell it, you know it's marigold. Once you touch it, anytime you smell it, it is so unique. And it's a simple flower that grows abundantly. How many of us, when we are touched and crushed by someone, give a loving response? Don't put your hands up now, please. How many of us, when we are hurt or offended by someone, give a loving response? Very difficult to do. Not an easy thing to do. But once we start practicing it, it's very fulfilling. Once you do it, you say, oh, that was good, maybe I should do it again. It's like winning $1 million. Let me try to win another million. But it's better than that. Trying to win another $1 million is impossible, but trying to be good to someone who is nasty to you is very easy to do. You have more chances of being successful there than being successful as a millionaire. And the fulfillment you get by doing that is beyond the imagination. Only you, he who experiences that is what is called the peace that passeth all understanding. Only he who is doing it knows how it feels. Try it sometime. So crush that flower, and when you're crushing the flower, try to be the flower. As you're crushing the flower, try to be the flower. And ask yourself, how do you feel about being crushed? Especially when you pick the flower from the tree and then you crush it. Ask yourself, if you were the flower, how would you feel? You plucked me from my life, now you're killing me. What do you want from me? The flower says, I've got the only thing to give you. Sweetness is what I've got. That is what you will get. Prem Sachitavadi Ramachandra Bhagavan Ki. Let me take this opportunity to thank all of you for being here tonight. And I hope our katha has been meaningful. Over the next few nights, I shall be taking specific subjects and going to specific areas of Ramcharitmanas to deal with these subjects. Tomorrow night we shall deal with the power of understanding and having an Ishtadev, having a name of God that we can call upon, and the value of having that name. So tonight, just to review, what was our subject? Anybody remember? What? Good company. Also, how do we change our lives? By good company. Everybody say that. How do we change our lives? By
Good company.
How do we change our lives?
Keeping good company.
By good company. Good. So remember that. And who's going to crush the flower? Who's going to try this out? Nobody gonna try crushing flower? Not right now when you go home. Buy one and crush it. Huh? Don't use our flowers, people. Go and buy some marigold, and in the morning when you wake up, you take one and crush it. And then when you crush it, ask yourself, if you were the flower, how would you feel? But then do this with it. Take the petals and offer them to the murti in your home. But first, ask yourself when your flower is being crushed, and then you realize you are crushed to be offered to the feet of God. How would you feel? So when we are crushed, that's when we go to the feet of God. Do you ever notice that? When we are damaged, when we are hurt, that's when we go to the feet of God. So this murti, this puja of the flower is a simple one. It gives a great analogy of life.
Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram.